Okay, so my refutation is with Sophie, and her claim was on where her proposition was how America has failed to integrate important key elements related to sexual education, which leads to high rates of unwanted teen pregnancy. I strongly agree with most of her claims, if not, but however, I do disagree specifically with one of her claims that she had, her first one, which was, I believe it's not just the school's education system's fault for the lack of knowledge towards unprotected sex. The higher rate of unwanted teen pregnancy is because the responsibilities are focused away from boys, which again, that is one of the things that I do agree with. The negative financial outcome of having a child too early is neglected and ignored from teens. So my response to the claims, I agree with their claims and believe they play a part in reasons why teen pregnancy has gone up. However, Sophie's first claim about misguided messages in the school education system, interfering with providing adequate knowledge on sexual education reasoning, were not effective at all to me, and I actually disagree with most of them. It is not the school's education system's fault for the lack of knowledge towards unprotected sex. All schools offer a sex ed class. Her claims of sexual education not being uniform equally in all schools is not true. The National Conference of State Legislatures website, it is stated that as of July 1st, 2014, all states are somehow involved in sex education for public schooling. The second reason to support her claim was how equals reality for youth, which leads to the last reason from her first claim she had on her first claim is how religious movements may prevent proper sexual education and contraception. Bringing religion into the reason why it's the school system's fault is not true, because they're not allowed to bring religion into their teaching unless it's for historical, culture, or and seeing the Bible. They're not allowed to teach them about it. The response to the secondary claim: the responsibilities are focused away from teenage boys, but it is not the reason for the high rate of pregnancy. Which again, that was one that I did agree with, because I do believe that they do focus most of the responsibility on women. But it states she stated how programs help reduce typically directed towards girls, which is true, because there are not other methods for men not to have kids. You only have two, which is the pull-out and a condom. As for girls, we have a variety of them. And then in her third claim, she said how society neglects to tell teens about the negative financial outcomes of having a baby early, which I agree with as well, but I don't believe it's society's fault. It's pretty obvious how bad our economy is to teens. I believe it's not society's fault, but the teens themselves for being naive. It is obvious that the economy is poor right now it's doing pretty poor right now in the U.S., but I do not blame society for teens not thinking about their future financial crisis. But other than that, I did agree with most of her claims. They were pretty reasonable, and that is what I disagreed with, which was the first claim mainly about blaming the school system. That's it.
All right, Laura, I think you need to kind of reevaluate how you're going to approach this, because it sounds to me like you are thinking about your point of view on the subject and whether you agree or disagree. I'm not sure that that matters. Let's put it this way. If you were the defense attorney in a criminal case and you said, well, you know, the prosecutor's got 4 arguments here and 3 of them are pretty damn good, but there's one that I disagree with, I think you'd be sued for malpractice in that situation, because even if you don't think you have good arguments to make, you can at least offer some criticism of the arguments that the advocate made. And I thought that you tried to do that on a couple of these spots, but not all of them. The one that you do have a dispute on, I think that you are pretty reasonable with, and that is that the notion that the schools aren't doing anything about this. You've got a good piece of evidence that says all states have sex education, so that sounds pretty reasonable. Now the question is, what's missing? Did the advocate show what was missing? The only thing that the advocate mentions is, well, it focuses on the girls, not the boys, and we failed to warn them about the costs. I don't know that the cost thing is really the thing that is the key point in whether or not kids get pregnant. You know, it's not like when they're, old school stuff, the back seat of the car, you know, and they're getting hot and heavy, and suddenly says, well, maybe we shouldn't do this because I can't afford the long-term cost of raising a child. Nobody, you know, that issue probably never comes up when the question of whether or not to have sex is engaged in. It seems to me like it's a relevant issue, but is it the kind of thing that the kids are going to ever consider? I don't know. I don't know that the advocate's evidence suggested that this would be a reason that people would change their behaviors in this regard. I thought you had an okay response on the idea of the teen boys. Well, there's limited amount of birth control that is available to the teenage boys, and there are more things that are available to the teenage girls, so that's one of the reasons that this happened. But that's not the fault of the education on sex education. That's the fault of science. Why the hell aren't they doing more? You know, where's the guy's pill? You know, that kind of thing. Where's the IUD, you know, for boys? I don't know. You know, what is it? What are the other options here that we can get a skin implant that's going to lower not our testosterone, but our sperm production or something like that? But, you know, how's that related to education? I don't know. I think that's the claim that you want to make. I agree that it focuses a lot on boys. You've got the right idea there. It's contraception focuses more on girls because that's what's available. You know, and I think that that's the good response on that particular point. You need to state your claims, though. Sometimes you're trying to explain an argument or read a position that's being taken, and it's not always clear what your claim is on those points. And there are a couple of places where you don't even finish sentences. It's just like we get half of a sentence of what the advocate was saying and no argument from you. So you want to be careful about that. All right, thank you. Appreciate you.